The final tutorial that we're going to cover for Unit 7 is the third one on sonnets. So we look at this one. We're going to be looking at sonnets from two different poets, Petrarch and Shakespeare. So if you look at the link, we have a few different things on here. I think we're only focusing. Oh, well, here you're just looking, so you're looking to fill on the table. You've read through these. You're actually going to be able to get all of this information throughout the tutorial, so you'll be able to fill this in on your own. Okay, and then we're going to look at Shakespeare Sonnet 130 and Sonnet 16 by Sidney, and we're going to talk about the similarities and differences. So we'll read those. Okay, so it's these last two here. Let me zoom in because these are quite small. Okay, Sonnet 16 by Sir Philip Sidney. In nature apt to like when I did see beauties, which were of many carats fine, my boiling sprites did thither soon incline, and love, I thought that I was full of thee. But finding not those restless flames in me, which others said did make their souls to pine, I thought those babes of some pin's hurt did whine, by my love judging what love's pain may be. But while I thus with this young lion played, mine eyes, shall I say cursed or blessed, beheld Stella. Now she is named, need more be said? In her sight I a lesson new have spelled. I now have learned love right, and learned even so, as who by being poisoned doth poison know. Okay, and then the one by William Shakespeare. This is just Sonnet 130. My mistress's eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes there is more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet by heaven I think my love as rare as any she belied with false compare. All right, so there are really three main differences that I notice for comparing the two. So in the first one, you have a specifically named woman versus who Shakespeare refers to as his mistress. So, but Philip Sidney actually names his the subject of his sonnet Stella, and even points out, like, I have named, but Shakespeare just continuously refers to her as my mistress. Sidney's sonnet also is talking about like this ultimate beauty. It's just like the topmost beauty. Nothing is more beautiful, like all of these carats of beautifulness. Whereas Shakespeare is really pointing out quite the opposite. My mistress is not the most beautiful woman. She is not a goddess. She walks on the ground like the rest of us. So it's this idea of this like exalted beauty versus realistic beauty. And then finally, you really have flowery language used. It's very, like the imagery in it is meant to be, I can't think of another word other than flowery. It's very metaphoric in a like positive sense. Whereas in 130, Shakespeare's very, although he is making a lot of metaphors and comparisons and stuff, and just like saying, like, oh, if this is like the top, my mistress is like the bottom of this. So he's just being much more upfront with his language. All right. And then for the last part on this one, we're just going to look at rewriting this into plain English. So this is just an excerpt from that sonnet we just looked at. So, and love, I thought that I was full of thee, but finding not those restless flames in me, which others said did make their souls to pine, I thought those babes of some pin's hurt did whine. So what do you think that this means? So I thought I was full of love, but I didn't find this like restless flame that other people thought that they were saying. Like, he's basically saying, like, I thought I was in love, but everybody says that love, like, you're full of pain and you want all these things and like you have this flame in your soul, and I didn't have any of those things. And that's what that part is saying. So hopefully that helps you understand how to complete the lesson activity for the Sonnets tutorial in Unit 7.